Hi friends, it's Grace and welcome back to another video. I'm going to be doing the unpopular opinions tag. So nobody actually tagged me in this. Basically, I just saw Murphy Napier post this saying that she does it every year on her booktube anniversary, and I mean, it's a great video from her, as her videos always are, but I just saw the questions and wanted to do it. So here I am. So if Murphy ends up seeing this, I'm just going to pretend that you tagged me, even though that's not true, and I'm just gonna go ahead and do it because it's a good tag. It has interesting questions, so let's just get right into it. Question 1 is a popular book or series that you didn't like. And so I have two answers for this, and both of them are kind of books or series that I didn't like in relation to the amount that other people liked them. These aren't books that I hated, but they're just things where I read them and I thought, wow, I think I just don't get it. Like, I see how much other people love them and I just don't get it on the same level. So the first answer for this, and I know this is controversial, it's the point, is The Faithful and the Fallen by John Gwynne. So I read the first two books and I have not yet continued, and it has been like a year and a half, and I don't know if I will. But this one was an absolute shocker for me, to be honest with you, because I really enjoyed the first half of Malice when things were going a little bit slower, but as I got into the second half of Malice and then as I read Valor in its entirety, what I kind of realized is that this series is for people whose tastes lean more towards quick plotting than mine do, because that's actually a weakness of those books for me and is probably the main reason why I didn't end up being able to connect to them. John Gwynne's writing style has something to do with it as well, because it just doesn't hit for me. It's not that I think that it's bad, because I don't, but it's just that there's something intangible that I can't really put my finger on about it, where the way that he inherently writes is not allowing me to connect to the characters on a continuous basis. And so that, combined with the quick moving plot, which I know are features and pros to a lot of people who read that series, were the weaknesses of it for me. And the other answer for this is Illborn by Daniel T. Jackson, and so it's kind of for the same reasons. A lot of people adore this book. It's one of their favorites, and when I read it, I gave it 3.5 stars. I saw the strength of some of his concepts and the magic and what he was going for, but when you put it all together, into the package that is the book, it just wasn't working for me. And that's another one where I see people read it and say this is one of the best books I've ever read, and I just look at it and think it was good, but I just don't get it. Now, question 2 was a popular book or series that everyone else seems to hate, but you love. And this one was actually a lot tougher for me, because I was trying to think, what have I read that I loved that everyone else hates? And I don't really think I have an answer for this. The closest I came looking at my shelves was maybe The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab, because it doesn't really count because it has a lot of people who really love it, but I feel like that book has produced a big divide that you fall on either side of. So there are a lot of people that hated The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue as well, whereas it was one of my favorites of the year when I read it. So I guess that counts for this. I still have fond memories of it. I read that book in basically a day, in 2 sittings, could not put it down. I adored it. So I guess that's my best answer that I can come up with right now. Question 3 is either a love triangle where the person ended up with the person that you did not want them to, or an OTP that you just don't get. So this one is gonna be spoilers for Wheel of Time, so I will put timestamps in the description to just indicate where those spoilers are. But starting now, the couple that I just did not get, didn't see the appeal of at all in Wheel of Time was Egwene and Gawain. And I would have been okay liking Gawain more as we went along with his character development. If he was just like solo mission, like, because I loved Egwene and I just did not see the appeal of Gawain like at all, like for her. And I get that he's supposed to be really handsome, and like I get that Egwene is also a young girl and she finds him handsome, she's attracted to him, but beyond that, with her being like genuinely in love with him, I'm like, he's an idiot. And Egwene is such a like smart, like she develops into like such a smart, strong like leader, and I was like, what do you see in him? I don't get it. So yeah, I adore Egwene, and I just didn't feel that way about Gawain. And when they were together, I was like, no, okay, sure, like, I guess, like, yeah, whatever. Question 4 is a popular book genre that you hardly reach for. And my answer for this is actually going to be science fiction, because I've made somewhat of an effort to try and find science fiction that I think I'm going to like, and I think for me that's going to be softer, more character-focused sci-fi. But yeah, like, it's not what I primarily am looking to read whenever I just feel in the mood for something random. Like, if that's the case, what I would reach for is almost always fantasy, even though in my brain I know that I want to make an effort to read more science fiction. I just don't reach for it. Like, I have to consciously remind myself and make that effort. Question 5 is a popular or beloved character that you do not like. And once again, this one is more of an answer that is in relation to how other people feel. And it's kind of hard for me to gauge how controversial this answer actually is, but for me, this is Daenerys Targaryen. And the reason that I'm saying this is just because in the books, she's always been a character where I kind of fluctuated on how much I enjoyed her chapters, but she's always just been like an average character in the books for me. Not my least favorite, definitely not my least favorite, but not my favorite, but she just seems to be such a wide favorite. And I don't know if that's as a result of the show, because don't get me wrong, like Emilia Clarke was a fantastic actor in the show, but like people just seem to love Daenerys so much, like obviously to the point where people are naming their kids Khaleesi, and that level of like favorite characterism for her, I just don't get it. Like, she never held that type of appeal for me, and that's just like, on my reread I'm still feeling that way, and I don't think it's ever gonna change. Question 6 is a popular author that you can't seem to get into. And so for this, I'm gonna say Stephen King, because I have read 2 of his books now. I've read Pet Sematary and I've read Misery, and I've enjoyed both of them. I've liked them. However, when I finish one of his books, I just feel like it's a standalone entity. Like, obviously those both are literally standalones, but I mean that in the sense of, I'm like, oh, okay, I finished it. I don't feel the drive to like read more Stephen King books, and I'm kind of basing this answer on the fact that he is literally one of the most popular authors of all time. Like, so famous, obviously everyone knows who he is, like so many adaptations, movies, TVs, etc. And while I do want to read a few more books of his that I'm interested in, I just really don't feel the drive to. Like, I figure I'll read them eventually, and that's fine, but for the level of popularity that he has, I'm not like clamoring to pick up his books. Question 7 is a popular book trope that you're tired of seeing, and it was kind of difficult for me to come up with an answer for this because I am a firm believer that when a trope is done well, there's always a chance for me to like it, and every time I was thinking of an example of a trope, I would then think of an example where I really liked it. And so I can't say that I'm tired of seeing them, because if I pick up a book that has it and then I really like the way that it's done, I'm not going to have any complaints about that trope being there. So the one that I ended up coming up with is character emotions and like grief and stuff like that being glossed over because you have a fast-moving plot. And I think that this is the reason why I like slower, more character-focused fantasy, because I personally find that I'm less likely to like a fast-paced book because of reasons exactly like this. I just feel like it's so common that there are going to be a lot of events that happen, but then we don't get the impact of those events. I'm not sure if this counts as a trope, but I just feel like it's so common, where it's just not realistic for a character to move forward that fast, brush things off that fast. Like, they're gonna be impacted, and I like to explore that. And so that's my answer. Question 8 is a popular series that you have no interest in reading, and for me that is The Expanse. And so I don't know, like, I guess this is a bit of a cop-out answer because I was interested in reading The Expanse, and then I bought Leviathan Wakes and read it, and then I was no longer interested in reading The Expanse. So, like, I guess it still counts. I learned that I was not interested. It just didn't do it for me. Like, the first book, I thought that the mystery that was laid out was super interesting, but then I just didn't end up enjoying the book that much, and knowing that it is composed of 9 books that are all that long made me be like, no. Like, there's simply not enough interest here for me to put myself through that. And I know that The Expanse is a really popular series, but like I mentioned before, I think that smaller scope, character-focused sci-fi is gonna be a lot more my jam than something that is kind of like action movie in sci-fi book form in a lot of ways. Question 9, and the final question in this tag, is the saying goes, the book is always better than the movie, but what movie or TV show adaptation do you prefer more than the books? And so I'm actually very limited in the answers that I can give for this, because the reality is, like, I don't watch a ton of TV and movies. I like them, but I am not caught up on things. Like, I just don't watch that much TV and movies. So my answer for this is gonna be the Lord of the Rings movies, because I read the books for the first time in 2019, and then I watched the movies. And I think, like, there's always potential that this could change on reread, and my experience with Tolkien's prose and everything could be different. But my overarching experience was that while I really like the story of Lord of the Rings, the actual reading experience wasn't the best for me. So the fact that the movies are telling those stories in, like, what most people agree is a phenomenal way, even if they don't agree that they're better than the books, it was just like a really, really enjoyable experience for me, in the way that, like, reading Tolkien's writing style, like, wasn't the best for me at first. So that's gonna be my answer for this one. So that is all 9 questions of the tag, and so that is it for this video. Please feel free to tell me why I'm wrong in the comments. Obviously these are unpopular for a reason. I know people love the hell out of the Lord of the Rings books, so you can yell at me for that if you'd like. I can take it. Don't be mean though, I can't take it. But please do like if you liked this video, subscribe if you'd like to see more content from me. I post new videos on most Mondays and Thursdays, and as always, I will have my joint Discord with Ben and my socials linked in the description if you're interested in any of that stuff. And with that said, have a fantastic rest of your day. Bye!